Hello, good morning. Most of you know, my name is Cristina and I'm the primary art teacher. And today I will be doing the assembly. Today we will be talking about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a holiday celebrated in North America. It's celebrated every year on the fourth Thursday of the month of November. So today in North America, they're celebrating Thanksgiving, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about this holiday because it's a very nice holiday with a very nice concept behind it. So I'm going to talk about the first Thanksgiving and how this holiday came to be. The first Thanksgiving was nearly 400 years ago. It was a group of people in England were very unhappy because the king wanted them to pray in a certain way, and they didn't want to pray that way. So they decided that they didn't want to live in England anymore, and decided to move to Holland. In Holland, they weren't very happy because they didn't like the country and they didn't like the language. So they decided to move to North America. The Pilgrims, the name of the English people, decided to go on two boats, the Mayflower and the Speedwell. They started their journey in England and then moved to America. But the Speedwell didn't last very long and had to return to England. The Mayflower did continue, and they got to Plymouth Rock in November. So their journey was very hard. They spent 2 months sailing in sea. It was cold, it was rough, people got sick, but they spent those 2 months, and finally they arrived at Plymouth Rock. In Plymouth Rock, they expected to see land that was green and with flowers, but it was November and it was very cold. So they had to start building their houses. The first house they built was on Christmas Day. They started building their house and then started working on other houses. But the weather was very, very cold, and there was a lot of wind and a lot of snow. And the men started to get sick, and they weren't able to continue building houses. So for that first Christmas, the Pilgrims had only one house where all of them had to live. It was very hard. There was a lot of wind, a lot of snow, and a lot of people became sick. That first winter, a lot of people died, and it was very hard for all the Pilgrims. During that spring, the end of winter and the beginning of spring, the Pilgrims met some of the friendly Indians, and they started to grow their own food. The Pilgrims learned how to use the land, how to harvest different kinds of food, and the Indians were nice enough to show them how to do it. So here are the Indians, and the Indians taught them how to plant. One of the Indians was called Squanto, and he taught him how to plant corn and wheat and barley. Thanks to the Indians, the Pilgrims were able to start their own harvest. Then came the summer, and the Pilgrims started to enjoy Plymouth, how they would have liked at the beginning of their journey. There were beautiful flowers, there were birds, there were butterflies, and it turned out to be a lovely place. Their harvest started to grow, and they would be able to have food for the next winter. So then autumn came again, and they started to harvest and gather all the barley, wheat, and corn. They joined together to save those food and decided that they should share some of their food with the Indians that were friendly enough to help them. So the first Thanksgiving, they decided that they were going to eat together, and they will be very thankful to God because they were able to harvest all the food and be safe for that winter. So they started what is now known as Thanksgiving because they were actually thanking God that first autumn they spent there together with the Indians. The Pilgrims brought a lot of things to that first Thanksgiving. They hunted ducks and geese and turkey, and they also had a lot of deer meat. They also harvested the corn and wheat, and they made bread and cakes. They also lived next to the water, so they had fish and clams. Indians shared their own huntings as well. There was a chief, Massasoit, that brought a lot of Indians with him, about 90 Indians in all. And they brought deer, they also shared other types of meat, and they were able to be there sharing the food. So they spent 3 days during this party, sharing food and being together and being friends. So the first Thanksgiving was in Plymouth, Massachusetts in 1621, almost 400 years ago. And ever since that time, Thanksgiving has been celebrated. Nowadays, in Thanksgiving, people in North America get together, and just as the first Thanksgiving, they bring a lot of food. It's normally done between family members, and each family member tries to bring something different, just as the Indians and the Pilgrims did that first Thanksgiving. They usually celebrate by bringing turkey, they bring vegetables, they do pumpkin pie, and they sit together with the whole family. Another important aspect of this holiday is that just as the ones in the first Thanksgiving, they also always give thanks for everything they got during their year. So it's a day to be thankful. The reason I wanted to share this story with you was because it's a day to celebrate being thankful. Well, I wanted to share this story with you, and I hope that you learned a little bit about this holiday and that you are able to be thankful and think about things that you are thankful for today. Have a nice day. Bye.